And so I understand they had a real aversion to wanting to do it, and their attitudes weren't very complacent with working in the field.
Okay.
So occasionally they'd get out of hand, and the story goes that they would bring, the military police would bring one or two of them that were getting unruly, bring them down the stairs and put them in this concrete enclosure over here that at one time had iron bars like the old jail cell, and they would keep them in there in the cooler until they cooled off. So, and I don't think we might have mentioned in the past, we have had psychics that were in here and not knowing that story. And I don't share it with everyone. And they said, well, I'm hearing voices in here. It sounds, it's not English, it's foreign. And I had one of the ladies turn to her and she says, that's German. And they're not happy. That's German. And she said, I noticed that coming down the stairs. I heard shouts in German. And I said, well, I was told that they would have to physically bring these prisoner of wars, wrestle them down the stairs and lock them up over here. So it kind of tied together that they were hearing this reluctance to come downstairs, and it was all in German.
Wow. Now, another thing that I know that some of the, one of the psychics picked up that there was maybe some gambling or some, I don't know if it was used as a hideout during the Prohibition times.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know a fraternal organization that doesn't have the ability to have its parties and its get-togethers throughout the year. And I know that Prohibition, the lack of alcohol, legal alcohol, was always a hindrance. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, everybody knew somebody. Everybody knew a door to knock on. Everybody knew where they could get a drink when they needed it. I would not be surprised at all if this secluded area down here away from the public eye didn't benefit them towards that end.
No doubt. I have a question about any documented deaths here on the property that you know of.
Not that I'm aware of, no. I don't think I have any knowledge of that.
Okay.
But you know, you never know. You could have folks walk in here and say that, you know, I grew up here in the 30s and I remember something happening. That's how we really piece together a lot of the urban legend. It's first-hand knowledge from the people who were born here and lived here. You got a lot of people in Orange in their 80s and 90s that know a lot about the history here.
Definitely. Well, with your permission,
Sure.
we're going to you know, do some more investigation of this you know, of this structure, and actually bring another group in that's going to be able to do more extensive readings and, you know, to try to piece together, like you say, the past with the present and see what information we can find. The people over at the Orange Public Library are also very helpful. If you're researching your own home, there's a lot of resources there. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to turn up the lights in 1 second, and we're going to take you to a couple of the locations down here in the basement where some activity has been felt. So we'll go ahead and take you on that now. Well, we're coming down here to the basement where most of the activity is taking place. We want to kind of start from the top. And actually, Dennis, you want to tell us about the what happened here? Reiterate a little bit from upstairs.
Well, I had mentioned earlier we had a visit from one of the former UPS people that would come down and help deliver merchandise down here. And these are the stairs that he was shoved it down. He still swears he felt 10 fingers on the back of his back and being shoved down these very stairs right here.
Okay.
So it made a believer out of him.
Now, Dennis, you want to take us through the downstairs here and point out a couple of features of the building here?
As we had talked about, this was the loading area from street level where they would bring merchandise, and that went all the way back to the days when this was agricultural and it was Henry's co-optional vegetable and fruit market. A lot of these items would come down here.
Okay.
And we had, I think, a visit from one of the psychics, or one of the sensitive people, and they had mentioned that there was a young girl down here.
Yes, I remember that.
That was down here with her father. He would be down here sorting the vegetables and fruits as they came down this way, and then they would take them upstairs to the market at street level. But she was infatuated with a young boy who was the son of one of the farmers that would bring the things down here. And her father was reluctant to let her go up the stairs to visit with him. Okay. And so she was kind of held prisoner down here, and she didn't particularly care.
This used to also be the where they would bring the merchandise down for the Orange Sporting Goods days, right?
Yes, And they would bring the merchandise down, and then they would be able, as we talked about earlier, go through these different connecting doorways into the various different basements with the different shops represented.
And you're going to show us one of those areas in the back now?
Yes, this area over here is the focus point of the World War II POW story that we heard about as well. This opening over here was where they would bring the reluctant German submariners down this way, kicking and screaming, I understand, and bring them over to this lockup area, which is right in here, which is solid concrete. And you can still see here the mounting areas here, and here, where evidently there was an iron jail door, if you will, and they would lock them up in here.
Yeah, actually, you can even see a little piece of the metal there.
Mm-hmm.
That's left here.
So it wasn't your standard wood frame doors you'd expect to see. This was a substantial iron door, and you still see the mount points here. But
so right now you use this for storage.
It is. Storage here. But as you can see around the corner here, here's yet another connecting door that goes to yet another basement to another separate complete retail here. So there are connecting all the way through at sub-level the different stores and the different buildings throughout Old Town. So.
Great. So this right here is a room where you said the prisoners were probably kept.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they were. That's the rumor. That's what we hear.
Okay. Great. Well, let's go ahead and continue on to the rest of the building here.
You know, it's interesting to note we talked about the excavation of the basement here, and it took them 2 years from 1923 to 25 to actually create the building. And you can see the different levels where they would pour the concrete. This is all hand-poured, steel-reinforced concrete. It's one of the 2 buildings in Old Town that did not have to have seismic retrofit. It's built that well. And as you can see, they would lay the wooden form, pour the concrete to this level, let it set and dry, come and pull the form back off, move it up, pour again, and each day they repeated it. Really, it was really something. Well, for the technology of 1923 to 25, that's how they did it. They had a lot of labor here and guys that knew what they were doing. So you see this wonderful architecture here, the beam ceilings up here that represents the architecture of the day. You can't find these type of beams available in solid lengths anymore. They had access to a lot of trees that were old growth trees that you don't find that much anymore. But it's very useful here. The temperature stayed very temperate down here. It's a good place to store merchandise. And as you can see, it's just all solid and wide open here. As we're making our way to the back here, you can also see yet another passageway to yet again another basement connecting yet a completely different back here. In this case, it's simply been walled up here, bricked up.
Now, that would be connecting into the Elks, part of the Elks building?
Probably so.
Now, is their basement still intact? Do they use that?
It's still there. Yeah, you might ask them for a visit if you get a chance.
Oh, I will definitely.
So right now, we just use it as a open floor area. And most of our customers enjoy coming down here, except for the ones that get scared.
Yeah. Now over here in this corner is where I know a couple of the psychics had sensed the Asian woman that we had talked about, and they said that, from what I recall, that she was kind of over here in the corner, kind of cowering, just, afraid of something. So you know, I don't know if that has some kind of a war connection or exactly what. What that was all
It's
about.
really hard to say. She may have been lingering from a piece that was brought in over the over the period of time. It's hard to say. But every day and every month and every year we connect little pieces of urban lore as they come together. So the picture slowly but continuously unfolds.
Definitely. Well, Dennis, I want to say it was a pleasure to be here again. Thank you so much for having us, welcoming us into your place. Once again, we're here at Chapman Antiques. And Dennis, if you can give us the address again.
Well, we're here 7 days a week, 10 to 5 at 201 East Chapman Avenue on the corner of Orange and Chapman.
Dennis, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And I want to thank you guys for checking out our first edition, and thank you for being our first guest, Dennis.
Our pleasure.
For Ghost Chat and Haunted Orange, this is Ernie Alonzo, and until next time.